Podcasting from the heart of the Gator Nation in Alachua County, Florida, this is Extension Cord, the podcast of IFAS Extension Alachua County, where we plug in and bring IFAS Extension to life. Good afternoon, this is Taylor Clem with IFAS Extension in Alachua County, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Extension Cord. IFAS Extension is sometimes referred to as the best kept secret in the state, but our goal is to make sure that we're delivering the best research and knowledge and ideas, best management practices that we learn from our researchers and specialists and bring them out to our community to try to address our community's needs as much as possible. This episode of the podcast, we're going to speak with each one of the county agents and learn a little bit about their programs and how they're addressing Alachua County's needs. So join us on this two-part series as we meet with the county extension director, a livestock agent, agriculture, horticulture agents, 4-H development, and family consumer sciences. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Cindy Sanders. She's the county extension director here in Alachua County, as well as she's our livestock agent. Cindy, thank you for joining us, and how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Taylor. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Hey, thank you for coming on today and speaking about the podcast or speaking on the podcast. I wanted to ask you about extension in Alachua County, and being that you're the county extension director, could you give us a little background on what extension is in Alachua County?
Sure. So IFAS Extension in Alachua County is basically an extension of the University of Florida research-based information out to the citizens of the county. Extension is located in all 67 counties in Florida, and we're fortunate enough to have 6 extension agents and faculty of the University of Florida IFAS. So we have areas in agriculture, which consists of livestock, which I'm the livestock agent, and we have a ag and natural resource agent, a commercial horticulture agent, the environmental horticulture agent. We have a family and consumer science agent, and 4-H. So we're fortunate to have those 6 agents in Alachua County to disseminate research-based information out to our citizens of Alachua County and try to help them with problems and provide solutions.
That's awesome. Some of the things that I've noticed with county extension is our role with communicating with the county commissioners and other policymakers, I guess, or decision makers around the county with different municipalities. I assume, or can you give us a little clarification on that important role within the county extension?
Sure, and I didn't mention that, but we are kind of a 3-way partnership between IFAS County and then USDA at the national level. But at the local level, we are actually employees of the county as well. So we're employed by both the University of Florida and the county. We have a memorandum of understanding with the county and the Alachua County Board of County Commissioners that they provide certain resources, and then UFIFAS provides certain resources. But the 6 of us agents are actually both employees of both entities. So it gets a little tedious sometimes. We have 2 budgets. We have to deal with 2 different sets of policies, county policies and UF regulations and policies. But it's also a good relationship, and we probably have the best relationship with our Alachua County Board of County Commissioners that we've had in my 19 years. They're very supportive of what we do. County administration is also very supportive. Our county manager, as well as our assistant county managers, are very supportive of what we do. And then also we develop relationships with some of our municipalities throughout the county because we work with all citizens in Alachua County. So it's important to have those city relationships as well as the city of Gainesville. So it's a very good partnership between the state, UF, IFAS, and the county. And it works out well. Sometimes it's a little difficult with sometimes some policies. Sometimes we might have budget cuts on the county and might not have them on the UF side. But it's a good understanding that we have at both the county and state level.
You mentioned that in your previous statement that you have been involved with Alachua County Extension for 19 years, and you haven't been the county extension director that entire time, and you've been serving as the county extension director for how long now?
Yep, you're going to catch me. 12 years as the CED, and 7 years prior to that as just the livestock agent. And then when I became CED, I, of course, still do programmatic activities on the livestock side.
As part of your role as the livestock agent, what are some of the programs or things that you do throughout the year within that position?
My duties as a livestock agent deal with all livestock in Alachua County. So beef cattle, we're 12th out of 67 counties in numbers of beef cattle. We're about 4th in meat goat numbers, and we're about 3rd in equine and horse numbers in Alachua County. And then we do have a few pigs, and then the one that's grown a lot in the last 10 years is backyard poultry production with chickens. So I deal with programming in all those areas. That could be animal health, reproduction, it could be nutrition, and the biggest part of nutrition with both of those is managing forages. So I work with producers on IFAS recommendations on fertilizer, herbicides, and work with those producers to hopefully help them produce the most amount of forage and grass available to those livestock producers. On that note as well, we are 2nd in the state in hay production. So we have a lot of big producers in the county that produce hay, horse quality and cattle quality hay. So I work with them, of course, on the quality and quantity of that forage and helping them produce the best quality forage they can, the most economical and feasible way.
You mentioned something that I think is really interesting to hit on. 12th in the state for beef production, and you said 2nd or 3rd in hay production?
We're 2nd in hay production.
So I think that's important to note, because what we notice in extent within Alachua County, at least, is we're considered an urbanizing county. So sometimes a lot of people might go, we're ranked what in beef or hay production? And it's because we have so much of that still within the county agriculturally. Do you see, what are some of the long-term changes that you might see over the next, 10, 20 years with regards to agriculture in, or predominantly maybe livestock in Alachua County?
Yeah, so you made a good point. I always tell everybody you have to get outside the city limits of Gainesville to see the rural areas of Alachua County. And we still have over 200,000 acres in agriculture. In Alachua County, agriculture is our 3rd economic impact, bringing money and dollars into Alachua County. So agriculture is still an important factor in Alachua County. Over the next 10, 15 years, of course, I see that dwindling some. We have over 200,000 acres in agriculture in Alachua County, so that's still a big number. But I can see that dwindling some as urban sprawl continues to encroach on those agricultural areas. Mm-hmm. I think we have to just do more with less. As far as beef cattle, we recommend that we have at least 2 acres per cow-calf unit. So as we get less and less acres for those beef cattle, those numbers are probably going to decline some. I still think probably in the next 10 years, we still will have a large agricultural economic impact in Alachua County. But again, as we, maybe in the next 20, 25 years, we're certainly going to see that decrease some.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the doing more with less. And I think that also brings up an important reason that Extension exists within Alachua County is how can we work with those producers to make sure they're working as efficiently as possible as resources could become more difficult to come upon, or you're just trying to be more economical within your pocket as a producer.
Right.
Cindy, is there anything else that you would like to mention before we depart from one another?
I would just like to say, if you haven't heard about Extension, everybody says we're the best kept secret. And we can provide you with a lot of information, and it's not just agriculture anymore. Of course, we have Martha Maddox, who's our family consumer science agent, which you heard from already on the podcast. And, she does everything from financial management to nutrition and cooking classes. And then, of course, we always have our traditional 4-H youth development. And that's the one that most of the time when I ask people in the county, have you heard of Extension? The first thing they mention is 4-H. So we still have our youth component. So if you're not familiar with Extension, I would just recommend come and seeing us and learning about what all we do.
Thank you very much, Cindy. I do appreciate it, and I know we'll hear from you soon on some future podcasts.
Thank you, Taylor.
Next, we have Martha Maddox. She is with Alachua County. She's the Family and Consumer Science Agent here. Martha, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tyler. It's great to be here.
I want to, sharing with everybody within the county, just tell me a little bit about your program and what you do here within the county's Extension Office.
As the Family and Consumer Science Agent here in Alachua County, I teach programming in nutrition and wellness. I teach food safety and education programs and financial management and wellness programs and food system programs. In the area of nutrition and wellness, I work in the areas of reducing hidden sodium in the diet, blood pressure, the silent killer, Spice It Up the Healthy Weight classes, Keeping Your Pressure Down series, cutting and reducing time by using electric pressure cookers. In food safety, we talk about storage and preservation, preparation and handling foodborne illnesses, starting and how to start a cottage foods business, choosing safe foods, and local food and farm tours. In the area of food systems, I try working with the farmers market to helping them set up the SNAP program, Supplemental Food and Nutrition Program, marketing their fresh produce and promoting eating locally. In financial management and wellness, we look at programs such as basic money management, credit and debt management, holiday spending, closing your Florida home, and one of my favorite, who gets grandma's yellow pie plate?
I mean, those are all great programs. And one of the things that I really like the most when I come into the office sometimes is when it smells really good inside the office. And I know a lot of that has to do with your cooking classes that you do, especially with regards, you mentioned a lot of keeping your blood pressure down and sodium intake. So you do a lot of work with some pressure cooking, but why is it that it's so important, or what is it about those programs that you think ends up drawing so many people?
Well, we're using herbs and spices to reduce the sodium in your diet. And today, with the healthier lifestyles or with cardiovascular disease, people are looking at ways to eat at home and save time. And some of the programs that I do help you reduce your cooking time by about 80%. Also, we're using local ingredients, and we're reducing the sodium and the fat in the diet.
That's wonderful. And so eating healthy is a big part of your program. And I know the Master Gardener volunteers, they like working with you, especially with regards to the herbs and herb growing. But also with working with the farmers markets and the financial management, that's, I think, something important. Tell me a little bit about the financial management.
Well, the financial management program, I do the basic money management and credit and debt management. And we're in the process of advertising and looking for Florida Master Money Mentors. These are volunteers like your Master Gardeners that go through a training, basically 2-day training, and then they volunteer their services back to help me with one-on-one mentoring of individuals that need financial counseling.
That's wonderful. So, Martha, one final question I have is, what have you found most beneficial about this position and program in Alachua County?
Taylor, what I find and have found over my 35 years in extension in another state and another county and here in Alachua is the same beneficial benefit, is watching and seeing the people reap the benefits and grow and gain knowledge from your programs and put it into life skills that they practice throughout their life. For example, like take charge of diabetes. When I have a person that comes in and they, their A1C is way out of control, and they drop their A1C to where it is under control and is in the norm, that is phenomenal. Or you go through a program where people are cutting their sodium and their blood pressure is dropped, a weight program where, they lose an incredible amount of weight. And one of the most beneficial is when a financial program that a person can establish a savings account and does not have to go into bankruptcy. I know I've worked with several people that say, oh, maybe I should just take bankruptcy. And I'm like, well, let's try sitting down and setting goals. Let's make budgets. And they have tried that, and they have financially got back on top. And that, to me, is very beneficial and rewarding.
That's wonderful. Well, Martha, thank you very much. And I know that a lot of our listeners will be interested in your programs, and hopefully we can get some Master Money mentors out of this as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, too, Taylor, and have a great day.
You too. Next on the podcast, we have Amanda Pittman and Mary Lee Sale. They are with IFAS Extension Alachua County's 4-H program. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Taylor. Yeah, thanks.
I'll start with Amanda first. Amanda, can you tell a little bit about or what your program title is and how long you have been with Alachua County?
So I have been in this position since 2016, and I am the Alachua County 4-H agent.
Wonderful. And Mary Lee, how long have you been with Alachua County, and what is your position?
So I'm the 4-H program coordinator, and I work with Amanda to kind of assist her in whatever she needs to keep the program afloat moving forward. And I started in this position in February of 2018.
That's excellent. I think, that with some of our listeners, maybe they do, or maybe they know about 4-H or they don't know about 4-H, but can you give us a little background on what 4-H is?
Sure. So 4-H has actually been around for a really long time. Supposedly it was founded in 1902, and it started with corn clubs in Ohio. The University of Ohio had seeds that they wanted farmers to use and adapt, and they couldn't get them to do it. And so someone had the great idea of getting kids to get the seeds and grow the seeds, and they were incredibly more productive than the seeds that the farmers were using at the time. And that was really the first true success story of 4-H, where the education that 4-Hers were getting was the university really improving and showing the community different things that university can do to help and benefit them.
Wonderful. And, so 4-H is a youth program. What do the H's stand for? What is it?
That's a great question. So it stands for Head, Heart, Health, and Hands. That's a part of our 4-H pledge, so I'd recommend anyone go and read, as well as our 4-H creed. And what all about in our program is developing life skills. So we have lots of projects. So kind of anything that you're interested in, 4-H probably has a project or program for, whether it's something in agriculture like raising an animal, or robotics, or citizenship. We have programs for kids that not only give them the knowledge in those areas, but then equip them with different life skills that hopefully they'll carry the rest of their life.
What are the programs that you're doing in Alachua County? And I'm assuming that those programs are developed to meet Alachua County needs. Is that correct?
You're correct. And so some of our main areas where we do programming are 4-H clubs, camps, and then school enrichment programs, which Mary Lee really helps out with as well. And then we have 30 main branches that we kind of focus in on for our education. And those are workforce preparation, skills living, and animal science. We do other things, but that's what we try to focus on. And so one of the examples of that is doing animal science in school programs is embryology. Mary Lee, do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that's been a huge success story for our county?
Sure. So embryology is a really great program for us to do because we can reach a lot of different classrooms and a lot of kids and provide a really quality program. So each year we've got a goal of targeting at least 20 classrooms. And the past 2 years we've been able to do that, which has been really awesome. And what we do is I've gotten us some grants for some different equipment and things like that. And so we provide the teachers with the incubators, the brooder boxes, lamps, feed, and curriculum, and everything that they need to do the project in their classroom. So I bring them fertilized eggs and all of the equipment in a box, and then I've created some online videos for them. So really it's a teacher-led program, and they have the incubator for the 21 days, and then they keep the chicks for about a week. And we've gotten just some really awesome feedback from it, especially this year. So we've had some teachers say that their kids decided that their new career path will be that they want to be a scientist. We've had some that said that they've had kids who don't really like reading that much, that as soon as the chicks were hatched, they went and grabbed a book and started reading to the chicks. So that's just been a really cool thing. Another teacher said that the empathy that she saw her students have and the care for living creatures that she saw them have during that project actually inspired her to buy 2 guinea pigs for their classroom. So now their classroom has taken on even more responsibility of having this, these permanent pets in their classroom, all because of this one project. So that's a really cool thing, and it gets a lot of kids involved in 4-H that maybe couldn't do it otherwise. That's the cool part about school programming, is just kids who maybe don't have a ton of parent involvement for various reasons, they can still be full-fledged 4-H members and participate in projects because we offer them in schools.
That's great, Mary Lee. I know that that's a huge program, and it's incredibly successful, and there's always great signs of that success when our office fills up with little chickens, and that's always a great sight to see, because I know how much interest that gives to the youth to learn about that responsibility, and also just the amount of knowledge that they take away from it, as well as the behaviors that they learn and skills that they learn. But you mentioned that it's how we can get youth plugged in or connected into being 4-H as 4-H members. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Is how, if I had a child, what is that age range for 4-H youth, and how do they connect within Alachua County?
Yeah, so 4-H is for ages 5 to 18, and something to keep in mind is that it has to be by September 1st of that year. So, for instance, in order to be a Clover Bud, which is our 5 to 7-year-olds, you have to be 5 as of September 1st of 2019. And so we really would like to, if families can, to get involved in a 4-H club. Like Mary Lee said, our school enrichment programs are amazing. Our club are the backbone of 4-H, and that's what we really encourage you to really get the full-fledged, rich 4-H experience from, if you're able to. We understand that not everyone is able to, but we recommend what you do for that is to go to our website and find our club directory. And on there, you can see the list of different clubs, when they meet, what they focus on. And what we recommend is looking at that and seeing which one kind of fits your family best, and then going and visiting that club. We do recommend that before you go, that you email the volunteer leader, which is on that chart, and confirm the day and time and such of when that meeting is. But that's really where, if you can get plugged into a 4-H club, you're going to have the complete 4-H experience if you're active in that club.
And I think that's important because, with youth programming, all types of youth programming, 4-H is teaching our youth significant amounts of, like you mentioned, life skills. They're learning those new skills. They're learning new things every single day, whether it be how to raise livestock, how to, through the embryology programs, but also they're learning about water, agriculture, and they're learning the skills on, with regards to running meetings and leadership. And I think that's incredibly important with our youth. So I know that the work that you all do is incredibly important to our youth in Alachua County. So I do appreciate everything that you all do. Before we end our time together, I want to ask, is there anything important that you want to make sure that people know about 4-H program?
Yeah, I think one really important thing that people don't quite understand all the time looking from the outside is that 4-H really depends on volunteers. So we have around 150 volunteers that our program really relies on to keep it moving forward and to keep it excellent in what we do. And so we really appreciate the volunteers, all their efforts, and not just adult volunteers, but also youth volunteers who help their club leaders, who mentor other kids in the 4-H program and such. And I think it's just really important to keep in mind that what really separates 4-H from other youth organization programs is that the university is our backbone. We're education-based and research-backed. So all the programs that we do really are based off of knowledge from the university. And we pull in other extension agents and faculty and different partners in the community to make our programs happen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you all very much. And if anybody wants to reach out to either Amanda or Mary Lee, they can visit our webpage, Alachua County Extension Online. And I want to thank you all again very much for joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah, Taylor, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend that if you are interested in getting involved in 4-H, that you also check out our Facebook and Instagram, and to see kind of and keep up to date with what's happening and the different virtual offerings we're currently offering.
Wonderful. And we'll include a lot of those contact links and additional information in the description of the podcast. So thank you all very much. And I look forward to, hopefully we get some great contacts out of this. And 4-H is a great program for you, if you're as an adult, for your youth as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, that concludes the first part in this series as we discuss the different programs that we offer here with IFAS Extension here in Alachua County. Join us on the next